Eight of Swords, first card, the world reversed. You may be experiencing a lack of closure in your life. It's your Vanishing Day anniversary. News stations and a correspondent to take note of the occasion. He stands by the town hall and talks about how you disappeared without a trace, how this tragic event will likely remain unsolved, how the police have done all they can. I see your photo behind him, the one taken at your birthday party last year, with what I think you were wearing that day described underneath. The corners of the poster are already starting to peel from the telephone post and the ink running and turning the words into nonsense. At the post office, I pick up the notice from our P.O. box. Case closed. The reporter wanted to talk to me about you, about how I'm handling your disappearance being made official. I didn't talk to him. He wanted to end this story. I want it to begin. Autumn is fading. The last of the trees shedding their leaves as the wind turns sharp. I'm on the trail again. I've taken to walking pacing these paths. Something about them makes you seem closer. I track pine needles into our home. The crisp scent of a distant winter threads through my hair and clothes, and I smell like new snow and leaves crushed underfoot. I do not feel lonely. Shards of glass litter the flower bed you once tended so carefully, the pieces smooth and sea-worn. I nearly throw them away, but stop when I see a familiar piece of blue sparkling in the clear and brown and green. The glass you found by the mermaid docks, a crescent as blue as the sea and sky. The glass you kept by your bedside table in the bowl of lost things that you found in the waves. I don't know what's important anymore. Was it the curve of your smile when we said goodnight, the lines pressed into your skin from your jeans, the pause in your steps when you came to bed? I don't know. Maybe that detail was something I missed, something I didn't think mattered. All I know is that I woke up on a dusty Sunday morning without you. You didn't leave a note, but your hiking boots were gone. I should have followed. I took the car to the trail at the bottom of Maple Peak. Hikers come here for the novelty now. Maybe these woods are haunted. I wandered up the Pine Needle Trail with the yellow diamond trailblazers set in the bark of the spruces and birch trees like gems. Did I step where you had stepped that night? Maybe I did. I hope I did. The windswept pines, the mossy rocks, the blue jays and chickadees, the rough wooden steps to the true summit made into lace with frost, nothing had changed at all. Why did you come here, Charlotte? Did you want something? Were you looking for something? I know that something must have drawn you to this town, and I know that you left me clues. The collection of feathers under the fruit bowl, the sea glass in the garden, and others that I haven't been clever enough to find. I know you left me clues. They are clues, aren't they? I'm not crazy. You left me clues. But tell me, Charlotte, what does the page of sheet music left on the piano mean? The lyrics aren't in any language I know, and human hands can't play the composition that you've scrawled on the thin black lines. I can't... That's one clue that I can't figure out. They're playing one of your songs in the diner. The one where you carved your initials on the booth. By now they've forgotten why they play it, and the song is just another sound in the murmur of the diner. I don't move, but in my mind I'm singing. When I clean the living room for the first time since you vanished, I find your next clue. A pearl, hiding under your favorite armchair. I roll it in my palms, clean it to a shimmering glow, admire it in the sunlight. It's not white, but rather a dark, lustrous rust, like maple leaves. Today, instead of going to the trail, I go to the beach. Wear boots and wade out into the rock pools. Pry oysters from the chunks of granite and claw them open. There's nothing inside. Not the soft, helpless animals, or the smooth layer of mother of pearl, or the sand and grit from the beach. Empty. In the evenings, the mosquitoes come out. They swarm over the lowlands and swamps eagerly, wings buzzing. This evening, as always, I am on our screened-in porch. You used to grow your tomatoes in here so you could tend to them without being bothered by the insects. The tomatoes this year weren't as good as the ones you used to grow. I forgot to tell you that. I'm sorry. How many things have I forgotten to tell you? I'm making these recordings of things that you need to know, things that someone else would be able to understand should I vanish too. To know in some small way what happened at Maple Peak. But memory is imperfect, and I don't want to forget a single thing. I don't want them to forget you. I remember the last conversation we had. You wanted to buy a new refrigerator. I said the one we had was good enough, and besides, how could we afford a new one? And you said we could talk about it in the morning, but we never did. And what we said before that, you asked me if I thought Maple Peak was weird. The waves constantly lapping at the shattered rocks, the pine forest, the mountain, the beach, the town. Nothing had changed in decades. It wasn't normal. It was the background in a theater. Something I didn't even think about. You asked me if I liked blueberries, and I said yes. You asked me if I liked maple syrup, and I said yes. I asked, Charlotte, do you think Maple Peak is weird? And you said yes. While I hike Pine Needle Trail, I eat one of the blueberry lemon muffins from the bakery by the sea. The maple flavor seeps across my tongue. It crumbles in my hands, and specks of yellow cake dot the ground where I've walked. A black-capped chickadee flits down for a sample, its gray-barred wings ruffling the pine needles. It tilts its head at me, first one way and then the other. Like all birds, it hops and jumps around the rocks, with perfectly executed motions, sharp and clean like a wind-up toy. The chickadee regards me again and then flies away. Far in the sky, I see the shadow of an albatross, returning to, or perhaps seeing for the first time, the rough stone of Maple Peak. Our town has no name but for the one the mountain gives us. The albatross has no sense of this and flies on towards the sun. As I hike the mountain, I hold your handful of feathers from the fruit bowl like a bouquet. See the birds singing in the branches, feel the wind through my hair. My feet crunch the leaves underfoot. I do this from time to time to remind myself of the secret you wanted to show me. Before you disappeared, I think you knew what was going to happen. You never told me what to look for, but you wanted me to look, to notice what was wrong around me. If you were gone, I would know what to look for. More clues leading to something, to you. I didn't realize what the feathers meant back then, not until I climbed the mountain looking for you, hoping I'd see something in the streams and leaves. The birds were nesting then. A white, speckled chickadee egg rolled from its wooden perch to smash on the ground next to me. The sound it made as it fell on the rocks was like paper crumpling. I held my breath as I looked at the fragments of egg, but inside there was nothing. An empty shell. I remember thinking to myself how strange it was that I had lived here all my life and never noticed a thing like that. And I thought about how many other things I had not noticed either, and what made you decide to stay in a small town like this one.
This has been Eight of Swords. The voice of Dakota was Molly Williams. This episode was written and produced by Mia Ferriolo. Music was Flotsam by Parallel Park. Questions, comments? Message me on Twitter at 8 Swords Radio. That's the number 8 and the other words spelled out. Thank you for listening.